Right, getting you started this morning. Got myself Snoogans right here.
And I'm Cudders.
I'm looking forward to this. This game, of course, decides who takes 5th and 6th place. The trophies this weekend are going to 1st, 3rd and 5th. So each game will see a trophy being awarded.
That is pretty good.
Gives all the teams something to really fight for.
Definitely.
And that's that rolling whistle to see us starting the game. And looks like for this first half, we're going to get started off with number 34, Steve Genius for the Quads of War.
And for the Ronnys, we've got Ronny number 69, which is East Cider. Like the drink.
Like the drink, East Cider had a sterling day yesterday. Took a couple of really big hits. But otherwise, very, very strong day. Steve Genius, of course, taking some hits of his own. Took a sort of a hit to the chest, I believe it was. Took him out for a little while. Meanwhile, East Cider does pick up lead jammer status. Confusion in the pack sees Steve Genius managed to break past that Ronny wall, and he's not too far behind him.
So Quad finding himself at the back, which means that Ronny 69 will actually hit it and quit it. He started off with more energy, definitely than we did yesterday. I know the guys are quite a lot more speed to play. We just half an hour yesterday. The break was around about the 15-minute mark where they had 2 minutes to sort of switch benches and catch the grass. We are playing with the full MRDA rules today though.
Yeah, full hour-long games today.
So on the line, which is sponsored by Ronnys City, we have, I like to call Evil Ronny, who is 666, that is Rolling Reaper.
Jamming up for the quads for this one, we have 2D, that's Nuke Jukum.
Two massive balls. Ronny's really holding 2D up, and it is Rolling Reaper 666 Ronny who's on first.
Duke Nukem getting low and taking those corners hard and fast. Big hit from Matt LeBlanc up front, takes Rolling Reaper down and out.
I think he didn't take actually Matt LeBlanc's point there either. He managed to stay in front of him. So Ronny number 8, who is also known as Ed, had a massive game yesterday.
Massive. We can see his mum and dad sat further down in front of us at the bleachers with their tablet filming once again. Quads of War have put Sonic's Rampage number 1991 up to jam.
And he skips around the outside. The Quads do have one in the box, so he had Ed Ronny had 3 to beat there, and he comes out. He is. And he's gone now for a 4-point pass. He seemed to skip through that line there as we do have a switcher in the box for the Quads. Iron Giant comes out. And it looks like
Julian Danjo and Thwomp Thing head into the box there.
Yeah. So we have Rudy Cartel, he's also in the box for the Ronnys. Is Ronny number 981. Again had a massive game yesterday.
Just quickly, it looks like there was a misunderstanding or miscommunication with that penalty there. Thwomp Thing not meaning to go into the box. So he is returned to the bench, meaning that we have got 3-on-3 on track with our blockers. Steve Genius up to jam once again for the Quads. East Cider again for Day Ronnys. And Steve Genius breaks out to pick up the first lead jammer status for the Quads today. East Cider makes his way out of the pack, while number 12, Michael Broyden, knocks off Steve Genius and takes him back. Steve will put in the first points on the board for the Quads of War there. 2 points to 11 for Day Ronnys.
Up to 2, not 1.
Back to the action on track. Nuke Jukum and Rolling Reaper jamming now, both taking big hits in that pack.
So Nuke Jukum comes out. He was against 3 of the Ronny blockers. Rolling Reaper.
Rolling Reaper narrowly managing to miss a cut track as Dueling Danjo was out of play there.
Just out of play, was very, very lucky there. So Rolling Reaper coming round.
Nuke Jukum taking that inside line, picking up his points and calling off the jam. Nothing for Rolling Reaper, of course, as that was his initial pass that he'd got out there.
A massive shot there from the bench, could hear it right up here in the bleachers. Call it.
I quite like that we're sat in the bleachers.
I do like it, I do.
Feels like I'm in an old episode of 90210 or something.
We're sat on the, you do, obviously, you can probably see on the screen that there is a stage sort of where the in-house announcers stood. And for one of the games yesterday, I actually sat down on the stage and it felt like I was in a really high suicide seat.
Oh, wow.
So, Ed, Ronnie, who was number 8 in the pink pants on, had 2 to beat there, and he comes out as your lead jammer.
And looks like Steve Genius picking up a forearms penalty, trying to make his way out of the pack. Power jam today, Ronnys. Quads of War are split on that pack, and Ed makes short work of Sonic. My apologies, Sonic's Rampage and Swifty Fool. Looks, I think, Swifty Fool was sent off for a blocking to the head, and I think Jazzy Hands may have been sent off for a high block. So 6 to 1 half a dozen to the other, both players picking up a penalty there.
Sonic's Rampage holding up. Ronnie seems to be out in the front there, as Ronnie's actually dirting one of the other quads players.
Sonic there very nearly connecting what would have been a massive hit on Ed.
And he does very, very well to get quite low to sort of duck underneath those hits, which you see quite a lot from the sort of shorter in stature sprinters. They seem to fare quite well actually against those types of hits. Generally from the hips.
Yeah.
Seems to miss their shoulders.
And like we were saying yesterday, first time sort of like consistently that we've seen a lot of hip work from male players. For me personally, anyway.
They do tend to use the shoulders quite a lot, don't they? And there has been a lot of hip work going on, which is a little bit more like the ladies' game, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Even though we play by the same rules, I
two very different games.
Totally different to each other.
I think what we're seeing here this weekend is the evolution of men's roller derby.
I like that.
Love it.
And you're all a part of it.
Oh yes, you are. Right, back on the flat track action. D12, Thor in trouble, jamming for the Quads of War up against, I believe that's 69 Eastsider.
That is Eastsider, yeah. He's done so well so far, so let's see what he can do. He had 3 to beat there. He is out Eastsider, he is your
Eastsider coming around on the outside there is taken off by 8-1N, put a sork in it, and Matt LeBlanc gives space for Thor in trouble to make his way through. And Cider calls off the jam before Thorin makes his way to the pack.
a lot in the walls, and they seem to be doing a little bit more offensive today. It tended to be Rudy Cartel actually going in and causing some havoc in the opposite blocker lines. So we've got Reaper, 6, Ronny on track, sneaks through that inside, and takes your lead jammer.
Nuke Jukum hot on his tail. Looked like Nuke there was sizing up for a hit. Rolling Reaper calls off the jam.
And you saw that the pack was moving pretty damn fast.
That was a really fast pack.
So the scores as it stands at the minute, the Ronnys are in the lead with 35, and trailing are the Quads on 7. We've got 4 less than 21.5 minutes to play of this half.
Feels strange again to be talking in halves after the 15 half games yesterday.
So we've got Ed, Ronnie, number 8.
Stuck between a quad and a hard place. But Steve Genius picking up, I believe that was a forearms and an insubordination.
So it looks like Ed has got a full minute by himself, unless obviously he picks up a penalty.
Absolutely. And I'm sure the quads are going to be doing everything they can to potentially pull a cut on him or something like that.
And he seems to make light work of that. 3-wall there.
Michael Broyden doing some good work today, breaking up that quads defensive wall.
So he has got 3 to beat at the moment. Muscle Kisses is just back on track and will join his teammates. Michael Broyden, who's number 12, running. Keeps coming in trying to do some offensive work. Sometimes lands it, sometimes doesn't, but you know,
Yeah.
that's trying, definitely.
I mean, occasionally, if nothing else, you might be able to just cause distraction. Even if you can't break up a wall, you might be able to just give a moment of respite. Looked like Sonic's Rampage during the last sort of 10-15 seconds of that jam picked up a penalty. So Ronnys on a pack advantage, 4 blockers to 3. And fairly good choice continuing this power jam. East side up to jam.
Definitely. Oh, and he takes. Is that Matt LeBlanc?
That was big hit. Wowzers. Matt LeBlanc using Thor in Trouble as a sort of a suicide, taking him out.
So Rudy Cartel once again, as the Ronnie coming in to try and disrupt that line.
Steve Genius back on track. But I mean, the work that the quads did there at the start of that jam was enough to hold back Eastsider until Steve was back on track. Steve Genius obviously knows he's not going to be able to pick up lead, takes off that jammer panty to make himself a little bit less obvious, take that target off his head, so to speak.
I don't think the Ronnies were having any of that then, though, really, were they?
No. And it looks like the Quads of War are calling a team timeout. 18.5 minutes just over left of this game. Quad still sitting on 7. Excuse me, Ronnys stretching out that lead with 53. Timeout, great opportunity for us to give a shout out to our sponsors, Skate Hut. Proud sponsors of both Central City Roller Girls, the Crash Test Brummies, and our penalty box today. Skate Hut have also generously provided us with our trophies, which, as we said, are 5th, 3rd, and 1st place.
It's a question, though. Who is actually going to take those home and put them on the mantelpiece? Are they going to share them round, or...?
My assumption would be the captains of the winning team will take them, and then possibly sort of share them around.
Share them.
You can have it every 3rd Wednesday.
So the whistle goes again. We've got Rolling Reaper, Evil Ronnie 666.
Nuke Jukum very nearly out of the pack, and he does pick up lead jammer.
So Evil Ronnie just against 3 quad blockers, but he seems to be having an issue. Oh, massive apex jump there. That was beautiful.
So one of Nuke Jukum's signature moves.
So once again, Rudy Cartel actually getting his teammate 666 Ronnie out of trouble. Just blocking the Iron Giant there towards the end, which allowed him to make his initial pass.
And Nuke Jukum managed to pick up some unanswered points there, 13 to 53 after that jam.
So we've got running number 8.
And Dueling Danjo, number 789 for the quads. Little hashtag fun true derby fact for you. I once asked Danjo, like, what does your number mean? He's like, why is 6 afraid of 7? And I was like, 789? He's like, that's why my number is 789.
Oh, nice.
Honestly, hand on heart, that's the whole deal.
Oh,
Dueling Danjo picking up a cut by the looks of things, heading to the box.
Oh, massive hit on Edge there. Again, his teammates having to clear the way for him, and they do so successfully. He picks up lead jammer. Now, the penalty box at the moment, which is sponsored by the Skate Hut, is
Pretty busy so far this morning.
quite busy. Wow, Danjo coming on and just smashing into the Ronnys there.
Such incredible footwork from both teams today.
Quintero, who's 1-3-3 Ronny, is taking as many people as he possibly can to the inside.
That was a slightly chaotic jam there. I don't really know what happened right at the end, but that was physical.
Like I said before, the energy of the games today, I think you'll agree at home, is just upped into a whole another level.
Yeah, I think the revelation that there's trophies available at every single point for the rest of the day, I think that's really bolstered the teams. C-Slick Steve now jamming for the Quads of War.
And we've got inside for the Ronnys, who's playing shortly jammer.
C-Slick taken off on the outside and inside, my apologies, and recycled. Tidy toe stop work, trying to get around those hips.
Yeah, got Michael Blood. I think you're probably right. It did look pretty good there. In fact, there are quite a lot of ladies who obviously can't grow on a beard, are missing essential hormones to do that, but seem to be sporting a fake beard, which I quite like. So we are back with the action.
Nuke Jukum slipping out of that pack, obviously found that necessary gap to pick up lead jammer status for the Quads of War.
And he is followed very, very closely by 666 Evil Ronny Rolling Reaper.
But that is a pretty fast pack that those jammers are trying to chase.
Ooh, and it seems as though the Ronnys took the front there. And
Quads did manage to pick up 2 points on that jam though.
that must have literally been on the whistle as well. Jammer there. He knew exactly what was coming behind him. And with his team obviously got the back and the pack there.
So jam in for the Quads number 34, Stevel Genius.
And for the Ronnys, we have Ronny number 8, which is who is also known as Edge in the pink pants. Oh, and Ed comes out and he takes your lead jump sticks in less than 10 seconds.
Stevel Genius picking up a cutting penalty. Must have been on the outside line. We can't really see that from where we are with the pack and our officials obscuring that view, but doing necessary things.
Stevel Genius has picked up a few penalties now, hasn't he?
He has.
Have the double penalty?
Yes, we may be on 3 or 4 now.
Oh, just as the Ronny seems to come round the Iron Giant there. Formidable form of the Iron Giant.
Yes.
He is huge. I passed him yesterday as I came in and was like, wow.
I believe he is 6'2" off skates.
Off skate.
Hashtag potentially true derby fact.
See, I think people sort of forget how tall these guys are. Skates does add a couple of inches. So I'm 5'8", which is fairly tall for a woman.
Yep.
And then sort of walking around with these guys who carry a lot of momentum as well when they're sort of
Absolutely.
It's quite scary. So we are just seeing a 2-4 pack advantage here to the Ronnys as Ed Ronny comes round.
Stevel Genius being repeatedly recycled, but it looks like he has passed the star. There is no panty on his head.
There is a Ronny gone down there. Sorry, one of the quads went down. He seems to have got back up.
Yep, the star has been passed to C-Slick Steve.
And Ed Ronny coming back round again. This so far is a 20-point jam, obviously including that 30 seconds that he had on a power jam.
Quads did manage to hold him for most of that jam though. And most of the power jam, sorry.
They did seem to hold him for quite a long time there, didn't they?
I think Steve Genius was standing in the penalty box before Ed managed to get round.
So that was a 23-point jam for Ronnys,
Wow.
which leaves them on 89 and Quads trailing on 15.
11 minutes and 35 seconds left of this first half. And it looks like we're going to have ourselves another official timeout this morning. So it looks like people are filtering in, wanting to see who takes that 5th place trophy, and eager to see the rest of our games today.
Definitely. With their much depleted squad.
I'm not going to lie, I'm fairly excited myself. Sonic's Rampage very nearly picking up lead jammer status, but instead picking up a back block, and as he should, racing to that penalty box.
Number 12, Michael BEARDi, once again taking Matt LeBlanc off just so that there was Swifty 4 to beat.
Thor in trouble, making his way out of the box just at the end of that jam, meaning that there'll be 3 quads back on track. Ronnys going in, trying to break up those walls. Sonic's Rampage out of the box, hitting that wall hard, showing them his back.
Sonic picks up another penalty. That is a cutting penalty. Which leaves Ed on a 12 jump for the moment. He is lead jammer as well. And the Ronnys have broken 100. Ooh, he just managed to keep skating there.
That was some rubber legs. Two Ronnys, 4 quads on track. Those Ronnys getting just in the right places in that quads wall.
Just managed to part the tides there in that quads wall and allow number 8, Ronny, to get through.
Ronny 33, the block father, inadvertently kind of doing himself not a mischief, but making himself into that quads pack. So he was right there in the middle trying to break up that wall, but of course that means that he had made the pack. So the Ronnys not able to bridge back too far to try and take back Sonic as he exited the box.
So Ed was watching Sonic come back on there. As soon as he'd made his initial pass, he was calling it off. So Ronny sits on 116. And the quads are trailing behind with 15. So back on track, we've got Ronny number 69, which is East Sider.
He does manage to emerge as lead jammer. Nuke Jukum taking advantage of the pandemonium in the pack to slip through, weaving his way around those loose blockers.
So Rudy Partel punching a hole through the quad wall. Seems to hang back there for his teammate to come round, the jammer, Insider. He's had a fantastic 2 days so far, Rudy Partel.
I bet he's looking forward to putting his feet up at the end of this game, though.
For me, so far, I think actually one of the best blockers, very intuitive in the way that he plays the game there. He saw the rest of his teammates go forward, seems to hang back, glance over at his teammate there, and sort of there seems to be a telepathic communication going on there. as he just cracked open that line.
D12, Thor in trouble, jamming for the Quads of War.
But we do have Rolling Reaper seem to staying on the outside there to pick up your lead jammer.
Fast jammers, faster pack. Thor in trouble, closing that gap.
Oh, and Rolling Reaper manages to pick up 2 points there as he basically hits it and quits it.
Does manage to call that jam before Thorin picked up any points.
Pack seemed quite tight there and seemed to split up, and just as Rolling Reaper actually hit it, his teammates cracking that open again. Number 12, Michael Broyoda. So we've got Edge, number 8, Pink Pants for the Ronnys.
2D Nuke Jukum for the Quads of War. That Pink Pants comment just totally threw me off. I'm now thinking of him as the Pink Panther. Nuke Jukum using his jammer superpower skills to spot that gap and break through.
Oh, and Eddie's right behind him.
Firstly, jammer status the Quads have picked up for a little while. Unfortunately, Ed hard on his tail. But
So the Quads did find themselves at the back of the pack there in their line, which obviously makes it a little bit more difficult, especially since Ed was on his tail.
yeah,
To actually score any points there.
definitely worth just cutting his losses there.
Definitely. So Mugs and Kisses, big personality on track.
Big personality everywhere.
And with the glitter, I believe one of the referees was saying that she did a kit check earlier. Yesterday, and basically looked at his wrist guard, got glitter everywhere, and then passed it on to the rest of his teammates.
Sounds like Mugs. Dueling Danjo and Thwomp Thing managing to take East Side off on the outside, inside, my apologies.
Inside, my word, how he got round there in his toe shots, I have no idea. That Rudy Cartel just absolutely cracked that line there, but East Side is still struggling to get through.
I'm sorry, I have to draw attention to the fact that Mugs and Kisses has picked up lead jammer status for the Quads of War. East Sider yet to make his way through for his initial pass, and that's a natural grand slam for Mugs and Kisses. East Sider doing the old hide the panty trick.
Seems to have become very popular this.
It has. It's not something I've really seen before.
Oh, Mugs and Kisses just running through there without anything. No contact whatsoever from the Ronnys.
And that is the boost that the Quads needed.
The crowd are going insane.
Some homemade signs in front of us I can see. Show some balls
Oh
on my quad.
Some impressive artwork going on as well.
You can tell that there was time and care went into that. Team timeout for Ronnys. Sorry, I beat you to it there. I do apologise. So, Cadders, I'm going to put you in a difficult place here.
Oh no.
And I'm going to ask you what your prediction is for our next game between Crash Test Brummies and Tampere Rolling Bros.
Do you know what? I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Tampere. And they just seem really, really nice. No, I'm not saying that Crash Test Brummies don't at all, because obviously they've organised this thing and massive respect for the team as well.
I tell you what, can I say just on the side there, the Brummies have been absolutely fantastic hosts this weekend. I know that Quaddy is particularly proud of the fact that down in our officials crew room, with the massive selection of food they provided us, there is also a rice cooker. He's proud of that.
Nice.
Right.
Now back with the action, we do have Rolling Reaper, who has just taken your lead jammer status.
C-Slick Steve still battling against those blockers. Ronnie number 11 picking up. Oh, no, my mistake. I thought I'd heard a penalty. Looks like we did. It did go to C-Slick Steve, though. I didn't see what the penalty was.
I thought that was Jumping number 11 that picked that penalty up there, but it seems as though it wasn't. C6 Steve once again finds himself in the box.
I tell you what, when the Quads wall up, they wall up. block hit. Murphy managing to take off Rolling Reaper on that inside line. Iron Giant all up in your grill. That's not something you want. Thor in trouble, picking up a block and out of play just at the last second there. And as soon as that whistle went, he was like, yep, Chief, my bad.
That was unlucky actually for him to pick that penalty up just at the last second there.
It looked like C-Slick Steve must have picked something up right at the end of that jam as well. He has had him back to the box.
By my tally, that has to be, illegal procedure of some kind?
Possibly an illegal re-entry.
Possibly. By my tally, that must be at least 5 now.
I don't. We'll see if we can have a look at the penalty board during the half time, which we're actually not too far away from. Just under 2 minutes left to this first half.
So we've got Ed Ronny, number 18 pants, on his way round. He has just made a 5-point pass as he hits the quads wall again.
C-Slick Steve back out of the box with teammate Thor in trouble, using him to kind of distract those Ronnys blockers.
Who recycled around the front. Fantastic job.
Yeah, very nice work there by the Ronnys.
Front there, just holding up his 2 teammates, Ronny and Ronny.
Nuke Jukem very nearly managing to take Ed off on the outside there.
Thor in trouble, just bridging out in front, trying to take Ed out. As Ed skips past that quad slide again.
Nuke Jukem taking a very slick star pass. I don't think Ed has realised. Good work. Yes, 2 points. Nuke Jukem managed to pick up from that little. It's not even an apex jump. He jumped the straight.
He did jump the straight.
How do you jump the straight?
He did a straight jump. Number 8 realised there that
there had been a star pass and the jammer was out.
Jammer was on just going some pipes there.
I tell you what, as the opposition, that's what you want. You don't want them to realise.
So Mugs and Kisses did so well last time. He's trying his hand again.
Mugs and Kisses is a very physical player. 2 jams, 2 leads.
Once again, the crowd going wild for him as he's Cider. Oh, fantastic. Oh.
Eastsider thought he'd managed to juke round Sonic's Rampage.
Sonic picks a blocking out square penalty.
I believe that was a blocking out of play. He went in for the hit, and I think he connected as the out of play call happened, and he tried to kind of maneuver around it, wasn't able to make it, and he sort of went, yep, my bad. Right, that is half-time, ladies and gents. So we end half-time, 30 points to the quad's war. Ronny's streaming out ahead with 147. We will take a brief break.
We're going to go and check the boards
Yep.
as well, just to see.
We're going to get some stats.
Yes. And we'll be back with you for the second half.
All right, ladies and gents, we'll see you soon. Our previously naughty skaters have made their way back to the penalty box, and we are back on with this second half. Taken off on the inside and recycled. C-Slick Steve for the Quads Award does manage to slip around the outside unseen. That skate hut sponsored penalty box is busy.
So he did manage to slip past one of the Ronnys as Rudy Cartel took another penalty. He is now on 4 penalties. See, we got some stats at half time.
We got some stats. He did manage to pick, I believe that's 3 points, indicated by a jam ref, Megalomaniac.
Sonic's Rampage on 5, and Steve Genius is sitting on 4. Into Ronnys, we've got Rudy Cartel now on 4. Michael BEARDi is also on 4 as well.
Meanwhile, on track, Rolling Reaper picking up lead jammer status for the Ronnys. Mugs and Kisses are knocked off on the outside and recycled back. Reaper now trying to get through that quad wall.
Murphy just taking, or trying to take Rolling Reaper to the inside.
Thor in trouble, just rolling round and round and round. Manages to take off Rolling Reaper to knock him off to the outside, and he does call off that jam.
I think he had enough there.
Yeah, it's like, just Thorin, get off me now, I'm calling off. Sonic's Rampage and Ed, little and large, sizing each other up on that jammer line.
Oh, Ed pushing his way. Pushing it even inside, outside. He has gone on the outside, which means he'll have to come back down.
Nuke Jukem does manage to take him off on the outside and recycle him, but Sonic also getting recycled. Nuke Jukem picking up what I believe may have been a clockwise block for that and going to the box.
So Matt LeBlanc, he was doing a fantastic job today and has done all weekend. Oh, wow. So, there seems to be one thing has literally just come back on from the box. But there was a point there where there were literally no quad blockers at all on track.
Yeah, Sonic's Rampage coming out, managing to emerge from that pack, throwing a big hit on Ed. And Ed goes, I'm calling it. Especially when you've got the jammer that close, the opposing jammer close on your tail.
So, big shout out to the refs this week, and I think I've done a really, really good job.
I tell you what, there's also a fair portion of our refs who are doing this, going home packing and flying out to Dallas for the Blood and Thunder World Cup next weekend. These guys do not rest. Eastsider coming around this scoring pass, takes a big hit by Nuke Jukem, knocks him off on the outside. C-Slick Steve still trying to make his way through on his initial pass. And the quads managing to take Cider off onto the outside, and he didn't pick up any points for that jam.
Mugs is a crowd favourite. He's back on again, he's jamming against Rolling Reaper, he's 666.
Evil Ronnie. The Ronnys literally falling over themselves trying to hold back Mugs. Yeah, there was a little stumble with his footwork there, and he definitely straddled across that line, didn't he? And we'll have ourselves a jammer switcheroo. Mugs and Kisses picking up a forearms penalty. So both jammers now back on. 1 minute, 11 seconds left of this jam.
Oh, Mugs and Kisses. Literally comes up on and manages to pick up a back block there. Leaving Rolling Reaper just on his initial pass. He is now on scoring.
We have ourselves another jammer switcheroo. Rolling Reaper also picking up a forearms penalty. Got ourselves a jammerless jam, folks. Still 40 seconds left. Now, I know that jammers work in pairs. So, Muggs went to the box first. Then, Rolling Reaper went to the box. He served the same amount of... They went to the box at the same time, didn't they?
Previously, yeah. There was only a couple of seconds between them.
Yeah. So now... nope, I don't know. I'm really not sure.
I'm not quite sure why Muggs wasn't released from the box there, to be quite honest.
I tell you what, between this game and the next, I will go and quiz a ref, and I'll pass the information on to our next set of feed announcers to explain what happened there. Because I thought I understood the rules, but it's not how it played out just then is what I understood.
Did Muggs have a double penalty?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
So that does mean Quad starting on a power jam. Thwomp Thing, first time to jam for the Quads this weekend, and he does pick up that lead jammer status. Each sider out the box, but the Quads have got an eye on him.
He hammered through that leg there, didn't he? That is a forearm being picked up, and that is one thing that picks up that forearm there. One of the OPRs picks that up, which leaves Ronnys by himself on the track.
So he has made his initial pass in that confusion in the pack. And the Ronnys going in, trying to break up that wall, but unintentionally making a pack's pace. Sonic managing to catch him at the very last second, knocking him off on the inside, but Sonic picks up forearms. Of course, Sonic the one that took him off, so Rolling Reaper is able to get straight back on track.
Rolling Reaper, obviously clock 2 it was that took him off there. A little bit of game awareness, which meant that he didn't actually have to go behind everybody else. BEARDi Cartel, we do have a star pass.
Thwomp Thing's back on track.
Rolling Reaper has been on for rather a long time now, jamming. He has passed it to Michael Troy over there. Number 12. He's doing his best. Oh, he's been taken down by Matt LeBlanc. Looks like actually the robot penalty has not been given to us yet.
And Thwomp Thing cleaning house. I think Thwomp Thing must have brought his pen and his boots with him this weekend because he's kicking butt and taking names.
Definitely. So Michael Broder, you saw number 12, Ronnie, went to the box there. He is the jammer as it stands at the moment, so there will be a power jump for the squad. There are 2 Ronnies sat in the box, which means there is just 2 on track for the Ronnies.
Looks like there's some cheering going on from the crowd. C-Slick Steve's looking at the audience like, me? You cheering for me? Okay, cool.
Oh, we have hang on a minute. I've just seen 2 refs make the low block symbol.
I think they may just have been clarifying what a penalty was in the previous jam.
That's okay then. Definitely wasn't somebody else. So, Quads coming in. There are 3 of them against the Ronnys 2. They are trying to come in. Oh!
Great work from the Iron Giant, basically almost hugging the Ronnys blockers.
So, ghosting one of the Ronnys at the back. Manages to make himself available to the scene. That is Mohammed Johnson. Jumping, just making it a little bit more difficult.
It really looks like there's just a pair of big group hugs going on track.
Someone picks up a stop block.
Iron Giant managing to take number 11, Champagne, off. He's picked up a star pass.
Beautiful walking there. Iron Giant again.
He is having an incredible game. C-Slick Steve still yet to make another pass.
Steve
Typos.
So that was a messy couple of jams actually. Lots of people going to the box, lots of switcheroos in terms of jammers.
And Ronnys calling a team timeout. They have indeed managed to pile on a fair amount of points in this the first sort of 10 minutes that we've had of this half.
They do, whatever was said at half-time seems to be working. They do seem to be taking the lead jammer quite a lot more than they did previously. Ronnys did take a lot of the lead jammer statuses in the first half. Interesting derby fact from last half was the quads only actually had 2 jams there where they had nobody sat in the penalty box.
Wow.
Once again, there seems to be very sort of penalty heavy from both teams, really. Ronnys, when I went down and looked at the board at half time, they did have quite a few of their players that hadn't picked anything up. Obviously rectifying that this half.
Yeah, I was going to say, I get the feeling that that's it's probably not the case on that penalty board anymore.
Kisses and just doing a little dance there, greeting each other. A little kiss on the hand.
Rather cordially, like 18th century ladies. Oh, how quaint.
So lovely, darlings.
That 5 seconds call goes and it's all game face.
So we do have split pack.
I guess that's probably the advantage of having only 2 blockers on track. It's a lot easier to race to that track, break that pack.
Right. It seems as though what happened there was you saw Ed, number 8, Ronny, actually go off. What he was told to do was to yield, and he went off, came back on. I think the quads didn't realise he was coming back on. I think he'd gone off for a penalty and just managed to skip around the inside to take the lead jammer status. A little bit of confusion there on track.
But still a pointless jam, as some would say. No points, and not in the sense of there was no point in having it.
So Swamp Thing hoping to do his thing of thwomping.
He thwomps so well, but then again, so does East Sider.
He does. Swamp Thing just some serious energy going on.
Taken off on the inside and recycled as East Sider picks up lead jammer.
So Jumping just taking Popping back there. He's on Jumping again. Oh, East Sider coming into the pack has some horrific speed there.
East Sider taking his time, getting back on track. Calls off the jam as he sees Thwomp making his way back to that pack. And 525 mugs and kisses.
Oh, Muggs managed to skip around Jumping there. You've got Michael Brewer, who seems to favour this one-legged blocking and has done all weekend.
Yeah, of course, that blocking with that thigh there, of course, is a legal blocking zone. It's between his shoulder and his knee. A couple of people seemed quite surprised by it when we first saw it yesterday. Nil point. I believe that's actually a 3 points. I cannot quite see.
I do believe it is. It seems as though that's 3 that's gone up on the board there.
3 points, yeah. First time up to jam this weekend for the Quads War. 84 drop. Block hit Murphy, my mistake.
Murphy. And we've got Pink County's Ed, number 8. Oh, that was a beautiful shot hit, getting really low there.
Some great footwork by Ed, managing to nip round those blockers. And
It seems to have picked up a back block, which leaves Ed by himself for 30 seconds, or until he gets a penalty, that is, if he gets a penalty. His mother in front of us with her tablet, recording every move that Ed is making. He's been outstanding, I think, this tournament so far.
I think he will have most definitely earned his bratwurst at the end of this game.
So I really can't tell, hoping to disrupt that line, which does to a certain extent.
Block hit Murphy making his way back to that pack, offering up his back as well.
I believe that Thor in Trouble has just got a penalty for the quads. He joined.
Thor in trouble and put a Sorkin it in the box now for the quads.
So drop hit is switched back by Ronnys.
Ed being taken off on the outside by LeBliss.
As Ed picks up another 4. Drop.
Block hit picking up a high block penalty, meaning this power jam will continue for Ed.
Swamping there was gutted by the Ronnys.
Means at the very least the quads will start with a full bank of blockers to try and hold back East Sider at the start of this power jam.
However, block hit Murphy is also sat in the box of the jammer for the quads, so they're not going to use it at the moment. And anything but offensive work, which they seem to be doing East Sider. Pushing.
Those blockers doing a great job of recycling themselves back round to the front.
So Duron is there forcing quads to actually bridge out in front. East Sider comes back round for a scoring pass and is your lead jammer. That
Block
wall with Duke Nukem at the front seems to be quite a strong wall.
Duke Nukem as a primary jammer himself, he knows where those gaps want to be. Iron Giant was sweeping 2 players at once.
So East Sider calls it.
With 11 minutes and 52 seconds left. Quads award 55 points. Ronny's broken the double century, 200 points. No, I mean, this has been an incredibly physical game right from the very first jam. And I think you're right, Cadders. It's, yes, the Ronnys have done incredibly well, but the quads I think they've given at least as good as they've gotten.
Definitely. I think the quads' sort of downfall in this really is that they have seemed to pick up quite a lot of penalties, and that has given the Ronnys a distinct advantage. We are watching East Sider come through for his first scoring pass where he picks up the full 5 points. Steve just comes through for his initial.
Put a Sork in it, going right up to the very last. And Rolling Reaper clocking there that Slick Steve was about to get to that pack. Hastily calls off the jam. Six-man pack will see Ed and Nuke Jukum potentially having things a little bit easier, but if I'm honest, I don't think so.
No.
And if I'm not mistaken, Ed has just picked up a low block, meaning that now Nuke Jukum is lead jammer and on a power jam for the Quads of War.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. Nuke Jukum seemed to go down very, very quickly after the whistle was actually blown.
I know we've seen Ed getting quite low a couple of times this weekend, right off that jammer line. I feel that he maybe got low and may have clipped wheels or something.
Yeah, possibly so. Sorry, I made that noise there because Julian Danger took Michael Brodo, who's number 12, Ronnie, off the track. I thought he'd stayed on, but he did manage to pick up a quick track there and had to let the jammer go.
Nuke Jukum slipping through that pack. I didn't even see him go through.
Literally just sailed through there. There was nothing from Ronnys at all. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Ronnys on it now.
Nuke Jukum with his patented fake out managed to slip around the outside and calls off that jam.
Mahatma Bronson there throwing himself at him right at the last second.
Bit of a jump in the points there for the Quads of War. 73 brings them up on that jam. 18-point jam. Very nice. First time up to jam this weekend up against East Sider is number 41, my roommate for the weekend, Le Bliss.
He's up against Ronnys East Sider, who somehow manages to squeeze through that fairly busy pack and comes out as your lead jammer.
Bliss knocked off onto the inside. A quick recovery as East Sider comes up to that Quads of War pack.
Just a beautiful little pirouette there before he hit the wall. And he's chased out.
I kind of feel like Bliss is on an episode of Gladiators and he's up against that that kind of Travelator-esque wall thing. He's just hitting those blockers again and again and again. And I don't know how they're taking this. And it looks like Le Bliss has picked up I believe that's blocking to the head.
Yeah.
East Sider being recycled meanwhile, though.
It looks like East Sider has had enough and he's going to call it.
Now, I guess with the jump points in the, not last jam, the one before, question is, can the Quads now break the century? 7 minutes, 5 seconds to go, 73 points that they have scored, not that they've got to make, because that probably wouldn't happen.
That probably wouldn't happen, no, you're right. So they are starting on a power jam to Ronnys. It is Rolling Reaper who is evil Ronnie, 666.
Takes a hit that takes him off his feet, gets up and tries to get back in there.
Once again, Matt LeBlanc doing a fabulous job. Bridging out, but Samson goes the distance, has to let him go. He picks up lead jammer. Rolling Reaper seems to take hit after hit after hit, and very rarely is sort of pushed off track.
I tell you what, I just spotted a very slick star pass from Le Bliss to Thor in Trouble, who was already way out front of pack. I'm not entirely sure that Ronnys clocked it. Rolling Reaper did, though. And, Rolling Reaper not calling off that jam quick enough. Thor in Trouble taking that star pass, does pick up 1 point. Nope, I've totally misread that. Ronnys picked up the point. I could see that was a red wristband.
I keep doing that as well.
Do you know what? I think it's because the quad skated in red and blue yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Sorry for that misinformation, folks.
So we've got Delaney's on 224 and the quad's still on 73.
Mugs and Kisses jamming now for the Quads of War, and I believe that is Ed. Yeah, those pink pants, that's Ed for Ronnys. And Muggs once more picking up a lead jammer status. Ed yet to break that quad wall. Dueling Danjo, I tell you what, he's normally quite heavy on the jam rotation, but he's done some great blocking this weekend.
Some really good blocking, yeah.
Double threats are where it's at.
He looks very much like another favourite of mine, Neil Halada. Again,
Yes.
small in stature, but very, very good at the positional blocking. Literally, the jammer is on his backside the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, we're 1 minute 10 left of this jam. Ed has only just made his way out of that pack.
That is very unusual. I mean, he is heavy on that jam rotation, Ed, and he's doing very, very well, and has racked up some serious points with the Ronnys so far. He must be feeling the burn right now.
Oh, yes, that lactic acid is working overtime.
Definitely.
8-point jam for Muggs there, 81 to 224.
Come on, Quads, we can do it. Let's break that 100. So we've got East Sider lining up.
With a Nuke Jukum skating around him, trying to spot those gaps early on.
In fact, the Ronnys wall is just so tight at the moment. They're recycling around the front. You've got Pintera.
Whoa, Star Pass, didn't see it coming.
That was beautifully done.
And just about as East Sider is about to call off that jam, he picks up, I didn't see what the blocking with the head. So Matt LeBlanc, having taken that star pass from Nuke Jukum, is now on a power jam for the quads.
So Matt LeBlanc was just pushed off, but the blocker also went down as well. Oh, it does seem...
He did pick up a cut.
Felt that he picked up a cut there, so East Sider will be back out on track.
Penalties all over the place. Of course, Matt LeBlanc will only serve the same amount of time as East Sider has served, so that's maybe 10 seconds, 15 at most.
So once again in the skate penalty box, we do have two blockers sat down. Again, seems to be well populated. Matt LeBlanc just coming round. Bradley's Champagne there, who again has done really well blocking for the Ronnys.
Wide open space.
They can easy work of that line there. So he hits Champagne, he hits Rudy Cartel once again. He seems to be coming up against a little bit more resistance this time round. So one thing taking off Champagne, who actually took Matt LeBlanc off, who again has picked up another penalty. Did you see what the penalty was for?
I believe it was a cut track. I didn't see it happen, though.
It seems as though one of the Ronnys was still in front. I believe block hit Murphy.
Has fouled out.
Funnily enough, he wasn't one of the ones that I put down for...
He wasn't hot.
Penalties.
He did pick up a couple when he was jamming.
He did pick up a couple when he was jamming, yeah.
Okay, so with 1 minute 47 to go, 90 points to the Quads of War, 2-3-6 to Ronnys. Ronnys starting on a power jam with Ed up to jam.
Oh, Rudy Cartel once again trying to come through and clear that quad line.
Quads managing to hold him for nearly 20 seconds, though.
Definitely taking his time.
Ed looking like he may not have wanted to come up against Sonic's Rampage there. Don't blame him.
Definitely don't blame him. Maybe it looks like Matt LeBlanc managed to pick up just 1 point there as Ed called it off a little bit too late.
Now 9 points off that century.
Looks like we may have one jam left.
Nuke Jukum up to jam for the Quads. East Sider for the Ronnys. Lost me words there. Yeah, all the Ronnys. All of them.
Oh,
Look, Looking like he's having a bit of a sort of a breeze in the park.
Looking at the clock, actually, that's what he was doing.
That's certainly how it looked from here. Nuke Jukum managing to pick up 4 points in that pass.
I'm not quite sure that Eastsider was that bothered about him picking the points up. I think he was more bothered about running the clock down there so he could call it off at the right point. So we have the Ronnys on 2-3-9. This is the unofficial score at the moment.
And the Quads of War on 95. Something that I've really missed this weekend actually is the fans making their way to the edge of that track to pick up some love from their teams.
Some sweaty fives.
So that does mean that presumptively, of course, they are the unofficial scores, but that there'd have to be some pretty poor math work from our officials, which I don't think they're capable of. That does mean that Ronnys will be taking back that 5th place trophy to Germany.